So my last chunk of races was well, it was pretty pathetic to say the least. But a weird pattern I've noticed is whenever I have an absolutely diabolical week, the following week is normally quite good. Sometimes it's because I like the tracks more, sometimes it's because I actually have some luck on my side. On the rare occasion it's because I'm actually somehow on form, and thankfully after the hell that was last week, this week was one of those weeks. So we start off in Japan from P11 on the grid. We get a pretty decent start. We're going to get the red and black car off the line, around the outside. Got the outside line to turn 1, so hopefully we just don't get dive bombed. And yeah, pretty clean. We got someone on our inside that punts the guy ahead of us. Up into P9 we go. And you know, given out as Japan, we got a car off in the gravel to our left. We're just sort of weaving through the carnage and somehow not get involved ourselves. And that's probably the best start I've had to a race in about 2 weeks. So we find ourselves in P7 behind Samito, and he makes a very audacious dive on the car ahead of him. We go up in P6, thank you very much. We do have a slight moment at the hairpin. I'm not too sure if it was contact or I just locked the rears, but we lose the back end mid-corner. Luckily we hold on to P6. Under pressure a little bit from the car behind, but we've got the straight line speed and we're going to stay there. I can't say the same this time though. We've got Andrea behind us and down 130R. He's got the slipstream. He's going to go around our outside at 130R, but hopefully we can work together and catch the top 5. We just focus on getting a good run out the final corner, and with slipstream we're going to cruise past him like he did with us, up the inside into turn number 1. Hopefully if we can keep this up without crashing, it should be a good race. A lap later we are right behind P5, and I can only assume this STW guy has damage because he's just massively dropped off the pace. And yeah, he runs wide at the next corner. Easy move for us up into P5, and we can actually see the cars ahead. That's a nice change. And shockingly, as we come to the end of lap 3, we can see the entirety of the top 4 ahead of us. So we could be on for a really good result here. Kia comes into the pit, promotes us up into P4. We are unfortunately out of DRS of P3, but hopefully if they start battling, we can catch on to the back of them. We were able to unlock a little bit more pace and catch on to the back of Alaporth, as one of the drivers, I'm not sure who, just sat in the middle of the track. That's going to promote us up into P3, and now we are chasing on to the back of Alaporth. We're going to have DRS down the straight, but it's whether he pulls into the pit at the end of this lap. Regardless, we're going to stay out for at least one more lap, so we're going to treat this like an overtaking opportunity, get a good round at the final corner. Hopefully with the slipstream and DRS this should be an easy move. What's his straight line speed looking like? Pretty average, so we are going to move to the inside. Up the inside of turn number 1, and it's an easy move for P2. I'm not really too sure what happened, but on our end lap we gained a second on P1, and as we come into the pit to put the soft tyres on, we are legitimately on for the win here. I'm sorry if I sound surprised by that, it's just it's not a position I'm used to being in. So we make our way back out onto the track, and I don't really know where the guy that pit before us is. He really should have jumped us, but nevertheless we find ourselves in P2. So we've got a 2.5 second gap to P3, we've got a 1.6 second gap to P1. If we've got the pace here, we could be on for the race win, and never mind. So basically what happened there is I realised that I was actually showing some pace and on for the win, and I realised that people may think I was cheating given my past racing ability, so I kind of just had to pretend to make a mistake and set things back to normal. God, I'm shit. We drop down to a net P3, but things get much worse for us a few corners later, as Samito has an annoyingly good move around the outside at the hairpin. He's got a 5-second penalty, but it's always painful when someone makes a move like that around your outside. It's pretty emasculating, really. After that half spin, I seem to get in my own head because I just seem to lose all confidence and pace, really. I'll stay on the back of these two, but that's mainly because they are battling. I didn't really show any more pace from this point onwards. We're just going to watch in these two. Hopefully we'll take each other out. We go on to an easy P2. We try and get a good run out of the hairpin, but we've not really got the traction. But as it stands, we are net P3 with Samito's penalty, so all we have to do really is beat Alex Poe, and thanks to some very convenient lag that really could have screwed us over massively, we actually overtake him. Well, with one driver down, it was just down to a battle with Samito for P2. Obviously I didn't really need to overtake him, but I mean, given the pace advantage I had there, I couldn't really help it. And for the final few laps, it's just a battle between me and Smito for P2. Obviously, again, I didn't need to battle him, but you want to beat someone on track. It really stamps your authority on them. I don't know if that works. Anyway, me and Smito just sort of traded positions here and there. Again, there was no need for me to actually be ahead of him, and on the final lap, I sit directly behind him. He's not going to get 5 seconds ahead of me unless he takes me out. But we've got a few corners left. We might as well go for a move, and I think at this point he actually ran out of fuel, which made the move incredibly easy to go to the inside of 130R. We go up into P2, and yeah, I think he ran out of fuel somehow. I don't really know how someone runs out of fuel in a 25% race when it does it for you. That's impressive. Regardless, we're going to come out the final corner and we're going to come home in P2. It is slightly annoying because it very easily could have been the win had we just not, well, just not do what I normally do and fuck it. Let's hope for better in Silverstone though. It didn't start off well. We start in P9 after invalidating our qualifying lap. But we're pretty quick around here. So I've broken my wing. And I've spun it. So we got one corner in and we broke our wing through no fault of our own for once. But on the plus side, half the grid had damage. So it was just a race between us lot to get back to the pit and put the hard tyres on. It's a bit of a scrappy fight because, well, no one could make any of the corners really, and half the people didn't really care. The best moment being down the hangar straight when every single one of us was battling with each other, and almost every single one of us drives off track because we can't stay on the track. And as we come into the pit, there is more carbon fibre, we get spun round and somehow don't get a speeding in the pit lane penalty, despite Mr. Puppy's best efforts. This is going to be a really annoying race because Mr. Puppy plays a key part in it, but I personally find it really uncomfortable to say. So after our lap 1 pit stop, we're going to come out the pit in P number 8. Hard tyres on. I mean, all we've got to do now is sort of drive and see what happens. There's not a lot more we can do. Oh yeah, just before I go on to obliterate this field and win by about 15 seconds, hit subscribe. If you're enjoying this video and you want to see more of my content, hit subscribe and leave a like and leave a comment and other stuff. If you hit subscribe right now, I promise I'll go on to win this race by a substantial distance and it'll be worth your while. I know my previous content isn't really evidence to back that up, but I promise it will happen. Hit subscribe. Okay, so 12 laps to go, absolutely nothing to lose. We're going to go around the outside of P number 7 at Luffield. He runs wide, it's a pretty easy overtake, up 1 position. As we come out of Stowe, we are on the back of Mr. Puppy, and we're going to send it up the inside into Vale, actually being aggressive for once, up into P6. As we come up towards Maggers and Beckett's, we are behind P5, who is Franny. We'll call him Franny. Regardless, we've got DRS on him, we've got the slipstream on him, this should be an easy move. We're going to go to the outside, and he's going to force us off onto the grass. We get an exceeding track limits and an illegal overtaking move on him, so thank you very much for that. We're going to stick to the outside and he's able to get back past us. And as we consider a very optimistic move around the outside of him into Vale, Mr. Puppy sends up the inside, but he just doesn't have the skill that we do and has to stay behind us once more. With this Franny guy, I knew I was quicker than him, I just had to pick my moments, which was incredibly difficult with Mr. Puppy just constantly sending up my inside at very inconvenient times. Regardless, we've got DRS on Franny once more. He goes to the left hand side and then back to the right, so we are going to go up the left hand side, up the inside into Luffield. If this isn't a sign that I'm actually a nice driver, despite what he did to me, I still leave him room on the outside. Around the outside we go at Luffield, get a better traction on the exit, and we're up into P4. However, despite clearly being slower, Franny uses all of his ERS to get up my inside into Cops, and I'll be honest, I was pretty terrified given past experiences at this corner. He bumps us wide, and luckily, he spins, I don't, and I go on to stay with P4. Despite showing my pace of this track, obviously it's me, so I had to have my customary spin while doing quite well. So on the exit of Luffield, we spin, and we're going to drop down to P6, P7. I mean, it's me. What do you expect? Did you expect a clean race where I don't make any mistakes and just dominate? That's way too easy. So as always, thanks to my own incompetence, I've given myself some work to do, but we are practically pushing P5 and P6 through these complex corners. As we come onto Wellington Straight, we get a pretty good traction. We're going to have DRS and ERS, but with the slipstream, the guy to our right is staying ahead of us. But he gets boxed in. We're going to go up the inside of the pair of them, down towards Luffield. We're going to force the... I've forgotten what name I gave that guy, but I'm going to force him off track because I've kind of had enough by this point. Back up into P5, and now we need to chase down Mr. Puppy. Oh fuck, this bit's going to be hard, isn't it? We are on the back of P4. We're going to get DRS down to Wellington Straight, and hopefully it'll be an easy move and we can just breeze past him and not have to worry about him at all, although he does use ERS out of the exit at the corner. We're not going to be overtaking him down towards Luffield. We're just going to have to be a bit patient, but I feel like I've got the pace on him. All I need to do is not make any more mistakes, and hopefully it should be an easy pass. Speaking of easy passes, we're going to get a phenomenal run out of Max and Beckett. We're going to have ERS, we're going to have DRS, we're going to pull alongside to the left, and it's a pretty straightforward pass. Is he going to darker inside down towards Stowe? No, he isn't. Thank God. Up into P3 now as the top three come into the pit. They're probably going to get out in front of us because of my spin and just me battling the cars behind me. Although I did realise that the top three did stay out for a weirdly long time. P2's in the pit now. P3 is actually nowhere to be seen behind me. So as we come around the first corner, we're now net P2 somehow. And then a lap later, P1 is in the pit, and we are going to easily take the lead. Out of nowhere. Well, I'll be honest, speaking from experience, I don't know how anyone can bottle a race win quite that badly. Regardless, we're going to just, we're going to take it. We're currently P1. We have a 3.4 second gap to that guy. And then because absolutely nothing happens, we're going to jump to the final lap, the final couple of corners, and we now have a 13.4 second gap to that guy. And despite everything that happened on lap 1, we are going to come home and win the race. Somehow. I mean, we won by 14.4 seconds. And, I mean, what can I say? I almost won by 15 seconds. Like I said, I promised you guys I would if you subscribed. And I don't really know how I won by 15 seconds given what happened in that race. But, yeah, all because you guys subscribed when I asked. We made it happen. I bet you guys fucking unsubscribed, didn't you?